everybody, so today I'm going to be doing a review on this book called Flute Stories. And oh well, obviously it doesn't have an author. I'm like looking for the author here, but obviously it doesn't have an author because this book it's got these little like autobiographies, not like autobiographies, but just like little stories from different professional flute players. And these are stories of their struggles or defining moments in their life or career, and it's got a lot of different stories, and some of them are like more of a struggle, some of them are more like a, you know, defining moment, some of them are more just like, this is what I did, this is how I got here. Anyways, so I just bookmarked a couple of different stories that I particularly liked. And yeah, so I will just tell you what I thought about them, and then I will go over a general review of the book. So the first story that I bookmarked was Jean Backstrom. She said, "Whenever I've gone through a difficult period in my life, personally or professionally, the flute has always been my salvation. It represents the best and strongest part of me, and it is a refuge from the hard times. You can lose a boyfriend, you can lose money, or all kinds of things, but as long as you have that instrument, you can go into a room, shut the door, and play music." And that's totally how I feel. You know, like you can lose your boyfriend or, you know, get in a fight with your boyfriend and you just feel like you mean nothing to him. And then you play your instrument and you feel like the most powerful person in the world. So I just wrote, I like what she says about going through a hard time and the flute being her salvation, because that is totally exactly the way I feel. And then we've got Patrick Galloy. I think it's pronounced Galloy, or maybe it's Galois, I don't know. And I said, I like what he says here about taking time to find yourself. So he says, "My wish for all musicians is that they could stop everything to take a period of their lives and just work for themselves, as I had the chance to do." So he's basically talking about, you know, taking some time to find yourself as a musician, and I think that's great that he included that, because I think a lot of people just want others to be rushed, like they want to go straight to college, to the orchestra, and all of a sudden just have an amazing career, and sometimes that's not real, you know? And then from Susan Millen, I said, I like how she tells us of her progress from the "why do you play so fast" to the "you are the real artiste." So who was this? She was talking about someone, a famous, oh, it was Marcel Moyes, and he first said when he first heard her play, he was like, "Why are you playing so fast?" Because she was rushing, and he just didn't really, you know, he didn't really treat her like he thought that she had potential. And then eventually years passed and she made her progress, and then she played for him again, and he was like, "Wow, you really blossomed, like, good job, girl." And then Emmanuel Pahoud, I love him. I said, I like how he brings up that the dedication to career can put pressure on a relationship, because he mentioned that he had gone through a divorce, and, you know, the pressure of being on the road and always playing his music put a strain on his relationship with his wife. And nobody else in this book really brought that up, like how working a lot can put a strain on a relationship. So I just wanted to include that because he was like really the only one that mentioned that. And then Susan Palma Nidal, I just wrote, I can relate to not being able to get out your ideas. Oh, because she said that she sometimes can't get out her ideas. Like when she has a musical idea, she just can't turn it into the music. And I really relate to that, because sometimes I will have an idea and I just can't articulate it. Then Donald Peck, I said, I like how he mentioned different tones for different composers. So yeah, this guy, he mentioned that he will use a different a different tone when he's playing a different composer, which, you know, I totally have been like thinking about that lately, because I am learning the Telemann 12 Fantasies, and when you play this kind of Baroque music versus playing like a very lyrical French piece, you definitely do have a difference in tone, whether it's subconscious or conscious, you know. Catherine Ransom, she talked about money struggles. So she mentioned how, you know, as a musician, as a freelance musician, she was not really making the money. And again, that was something that not a lot of people talked about in this book. They mostly, yeah, they didn't really mention that they had money problems, but she mentioned that she had money problems, so I wanted to include that. Alexis Still, all I wrote was just an interesting story, so let's read it together. She said, I came from New Zealand to study in the States, and getting here was very hard financially. Well, I guess she talked about how it was hard, so never mind. I guess the other lady wasn't the only one. She said, at one point, I thought I wouldn't be able to do it. The exchange rate was something terrible, and New Zealand is not a wealthy country. Material people don't have as much as they do in the States. I'd been teaching for years and doing things like picking strawberries to make money. I'd missed out on an Arts Council grant, which is the only way of getting a decent amount of money out of the New Zealand government, so I was pretty depressed and feeling sorry for myself. Then I got this check in the mail for $100. It came with an anonymous note saying the person really loved hearing me play, wished me the best, and knew I could make it. Along with the note was a fantastic quote from Thoreau. The quote says, I learned this, at least, by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. End quote. I still have that piece of paper framed on my desk. That vote of confidence from someone I didn't even know gave me the courage to keep working, playing concerts and recitals, asking people for money, and in the end I managed to piece together enough to study in the States. If I hadn't made that trip, I sure as heck wouldn't play the flute like I do now. And I just think that's a really interesting story, you know, like not a lot of people mentioned that they had support from a complete stranger. Actually, I don't think any of them mentioned that. So, I don't know, I just thought that was an interesting story. For Ransom Wilson, I wrote cool story, and I relate with the E. So he talked about how even today in his professional career, he still will crack that middle register E. And I can do it fine for like 99% of the time now, but oh my god, when I first learned that note, I was like, what the heck? Like, how can I play an F, the note above it, but I can't play this note? I don't know. That note was so hard. It's just a weird note. It's like it has its like own like embouchure for that note. So, all in all, I really enjoyed this book. It definitely inspired me to practice. It definitely inspired me to go after my goals. A lot of these stories were people talking about how maybe like a teacher, like a private teacher or an orchestra conductor maybe was too hard on them and they felt badly about themselves, or you know, just something else, like they might have had a surgery and they couldn't play the flute for a while, or you know, something like that, something wrong with the lungs, where they couldn't breathe anymore. And I think those are very inspiring stories. They really show you that if you just work hard, you can go very far. You know, and like that one woman from New Zealand said, like, I mean, yeah, that Thoreau quote was very, very true. Like, if you follow your dreams and work hard, you will definitely get there. And I definitely believe that. So, if you guys want to read this book, you can probably order it online. It says that it is $19.95 in the US, $29.95 in Canada, and $14.95 in the UK. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully during this lockdown, you pick up a book and learn a little bit about music. See you in the next video.